Rams Nation. Your Los Angeles Rams are moving on to the divisional round of the 2025 playoff tournament. Rams win 27-9 against the Minnesota Vikings. Throw your LA symbols up like Kyron Williams and Michael Hoyt. As again, for you, anyone who did not know, Rams win 9-27. Minnesota down in the dumps. Double thumbs down as our pass rush was flashing all night. Great to win playoff games. I love it so dang much. But welcome back to another edition of the Rams Up post-game reaction here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. Like, subscribe, share this video and podcast with all your fellow Rams and football fans. Dang it, we very much appreciate it. But gentlemen, here with me, that's Mark, that's Paul, I'm Ian. I'm so happy we won a playoff game. It's so good, right, Mark?
Yeah. Hey, man, we're right exactly where we belong, I think. This team, I was watching some videos, some content creators, NFL experts, Colt McCoy and some other guys, and they characterize this game as, do you think the Rams could pull off the upset? Do you smell an upset here? And it's like, I don't even think of it as an upset. It's a coin flip game. Oh, people don't realize that after that 1-4 start, the Rams have a pretty stellar record, and man, I think they may have peaked. They're peaking at the right time. I made a list. I always try to identify, who stood out in this game. I got about 17 names, so I don't know what we're going to do about that, handing out game balls in a couple of nights, but man, it was really impressive and it was fun. I was still nervous deep into the fourth quarter, as I tend to be. I don't care, three score lead. I get it, but I was still kind of worried there until we finally sealed it with that the turnover on downs there. But yeah, that was a fun game. Man, just tearing up that Vikings offensive line. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, a lot of fun for sure. Paul, how are you doing, man? How did you enjoy this game tonight?
Oh, it was a great game, and I think it just validates everything McVay was saying. McVay was saying, listen, that week of rest is more important than the seeding. We'll take on whoever we have to take on, and you saw it. I think one of the reasons, like Mark is saying, that you had like this the entire contingent had a great game today was because you have a healthy team finally, and then you had the full week of rest on top of that. Made a huge difference today. Huge difference.
Yeah, I was kind of worried that the start of the game was just the emotion, playing for LA and everything they've gone through, and then maybe they'd lose a little steam as the game went on, but that didn't happen.
I mean, it did not. I mean, gentlemen, I guess my what's the word I want to say? My pessimism with Rams first quarter starts was very much in play. Watching the pregame team and players warm up, I was like, gosh dang it. The chances of us having to be in a shootout is very likely. And I was like, we have to start out fast. And right out of the gate, Matthew Stafford, 11 for 12, throwing laser beams everywhere on the football field. Sidearm, tight end involved, Higbee involved, screens. I mean, it was freaking fantastic. So we'll start with that first quarter real quick. I mean, immediately, boom, 10-0 in a flash. And Tyler Higbee, and real quick, for anyone who's unaware, Tyler Higbee unofficially probably has broken ribs, if I had to guess, based on McVay's post-game comments about him going to the hospital and getting checked out with the upper chest. And they said he was going to be okay. And unfortunate, man, a lot of Rams got banged up this game, but we did come out the victory. But Tyler Higbee, what a freaking first quarter he had before he got hurt. Shout out to Rams PR, always putting out fantastic stats for us to digest here. With 248 postseason receiving yards, Tyler Higbee surpassed Terry Nelson for the most receiving yards by a tight end in franchise postseason history. Wow. Higbee's 5 first quarter receptions are the most by a Rams player in a first quarter of a playoff game since Brandon Cooks recorded 5 in the fourth quarter of Super Bowl 50. What Super Bowl was that? 52, if I remember correctly. So my Roman numerals are not great right at the moment. But gosh, Higbee, real quick, gentlemen, share your thoughts on Tyler's addition, and hopefully he's okay, of course, but him back in the fold, what a freaking weapon he was back in our attack here in the playoff game.
Yeah, that one catch he made, my special assistant texted me and he said, "You know what? Tyler Higbee doesn't typically make catches like that. The one he extended and pulled it in. It could have been the play he got hurt on. I'm not sure, but yeah, spectacular. And it was almost, I'm almost feeling like the other tight ends with him in the fold are like picking up their game a little bit because they're starting to contribute as well. So that's good to see, especially since we may not have Tyler next week, which is a big bummer. But as Stafford said, it's a great mix of veterans and young guys, and he's referring to Higbee as one of the veterans, and it's going to be a big loss if he can't play. But his contribution was much appreciated tonight.
Yeah, much appreciated, indeed. I mean, Paul, your thoughts on Tyler Higbee's contributions before he got injured, unfortunately?
Well, your best players play best in big games, correct? And the perfect example, Stafford came out throwing. Higbee was just, talk about phenomenal catch. Right? The physicality in the blocking game was there. He was ready to go from jump, right? That you could see, Troy Aikman said it best, right? Within like the first 10 plays, right? Who came to play, right? And then you make sure you get the ball to those guys. And you could see that. And I think Mark's right. I think the rest of the tight end crew just fed off of that. Davis Allen probably played the game of his life tonight. Yeah. And Hunter Long too. And, by the way, that was definitely pass interference, right? Total face guard.
100%. That was dumb.
How was that not even called?
And the announcers didn't really even talk about that, did they?
Yeah.
Not really.
Shout out to Hunter Long, man. Like he's like the Ram fave right now, right? To see that kid come up big. But going back to Higgs, hopefully like the injury is not serious. According to this, he was transported to the hospital. McVay always downplays injuries, which gives me a little agita, right? And I think it does to everybody.
True, though. Yeah. So
hopefully he is back in the mix. But if he needs a week to rest, I think we owe it to the big guy because he wants to play in the big dance. That's the bottom line. He said it. The locker room speech sort of basically cemented that. That's where his mind is at, and that the Rams came out focused right from the minute of the first snap, and that made a big difference. So. Shout out to Higgs, the leadership. Instrumental in a win like this.
Yeah, instrumental for sure, Rams Nation. And we hope he's okay. Hopefully he will be available to some capacity. Outside of the playing field and him contributing on the football field. The emotional support, the emotional leadership that every Ram has said he's been so important. All those games he was not available. Hopefully he'll be around for at least that at the bare minimum. But we hope Tyler Higbee's able to go, be good to go next week against the Eagles. But moving on to that second quarter, gentlemen, where we scored another 14 points. Holy crap. And the defensive backs, these corners were making insane plays in that second quarter. And shout out to Rams PR with some other fantastic stats. NFL postseason history. The Rams became the first team ever to have two cornerbacks record at least one sack in a playoff game since 1982, when quarterback sacks became an official stat. Holy freaking crap. And with that, you can't forget Kobe Durant also having that fantastic interception early in that second quarter as well. Man, oh, freaking man, that was awesome, that whole second quarter with them coming up, getting to the quarterback, and then Kobe Durant's interception to really start snowballing in our favor, right, gentlemen? But Mark, I'll start with you, dude. Kobe Durant's interception and his sack leading to more points. How do you feel about that in the second quarter?
What did McVay refer to this as? The champagne problem, having some quality guys that he can pull and play cornerback, and we may need him next week. I'm not sure what's up with Witherspoon, but hey, Kobe Durant, before you joined us, Ian, Paul can remembers Kobe Durant's always been one of my favorites back to the year he was drafted, underrated player. He has a habit, he's made a lot of splash plays in his career, considering, he doesn't have hundreds and hundreds of defensive snaps, but he shows up once in a while, makes big plays.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was good to see.
It was good to see too. I mean, Paul, your thoughts on the corners getting sacks, breaking history, and then Kobe Durant's clutch interception in that early second quarter as well. The DBs came to play, dude.
Well, that's why McVay's been very vocal, right? He wants Durant in the lineup because the kid makes plays, right?
Yep.
And that's why he was drafted. So, I mean, one of the things, we talked about as we're texting back and forth, and I think that really was a statement of the game is that the Rams got all the assets on the field, right? That's the bottom line. All the players to some degree got on the field. Everybody was able to make a contribution, finding a way to get your third cornerback on the field, even though it may not be a pure nickel, finding a way to tweak your system. Q Lake being able to jump down to the slot. How big of a difference did that make today? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And we still don't talk enough about that kid. Played every snap on defense this year.
Yeah.
Absolute baller.
Mhm.
But that's why Durant has to be in the lineup in some shape or form, because he comes up big, he makes plays, and he, this is going back to the Vegas game. If we think back to that, this kid likes to blitz off the corner. He may have found a little niche for himself, right? So like I said, he's just a playmaker, an absolute playmaker.
I mean, and then on the flip side of that historic stat, Akello Witherspoon's sack fumble that he caused to get Jared Verse sprinting down the sideline looking like an all-pro wide receiver with his 40 time or whatever, his miles per hour, which happened to be the fastest the entire game. Shout out to this stat again by Rams PR. Verse became the first Rams defender since Larry Brink in 1950 to record a fumble recovery return for a touchdown. His 57-yard scoop and score also marked the longest defensive touchdown by a Rams defender since Bill Simpson in 1975. Golly, what a crazy time this is. Verse joins Isaiah Robertson and Simpson as the only players in Rams history to record defensive postseason touchdowns or 50-plus yards. It's the longest fumble recovery return for a touchdown in the postseason since Bengals D lineman Sam Hubbard's 98-yard scoop and score in the 2022 wildcard playoff game versus the Baltimore Ravens. Gentlemen, Rams Nation, these young Rams every week are breaking Rams records, playoff records, season records, NFL history records. It's incredible. I can't believe it. Jared Verse, Akello Witherspoon, what a play that was. I mean, Mark, your thoughts on that scoop and score before halftime?
Yeah. Hey, another stat that my special assistant sent me during the game, Jared Verse reached a top speed of 19.88 miles per hour. I don't know who tracks these stats, how they dig this up. The fastest speed reached by a 260-pound plus ball carrier in the last 7 seasons. So they have a database of that too, I guess. But yeah,
Amazing.
man, that front, those guys up front are so much fun to watch, and everybody contributing. And Jared Verse didn't even have a sack, and he was as impactful as anybody on the field, I think.
Yeah, I mean, what an insane play. Paul, your thoughts on that play? Akello getting the strip sack, and then Jared Verse, our first rounder since 2016, getting the scoop and score in the biggest game of his life.
So I think the shot of the game was him doing the swan dive to the pile. I thought that was absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, they're going to have to pull him inside and say, listen, with the end zone celebrations, we need you to survive until the playoff. I thought he was out for the season after that.
I know, it gets a little sketchy, I know.
Yeah, but no, listen, that just shows, he's just we said this when they drafted him. The combination of power and speed and size in this draft, he stood out. And that was the bottom line. And he's still raw. We know that, right? Coming out of Florida State. So can you imagine the progression, when you get to year 2, year 3? Look at the progression of Kobe Turner. Now project that onto someone like, Jared Verse. It's just absolutely phenomenal. But, the bottom line is that these young kids are getting better and better and better every game. And that's the thing,
Yeah.
that upward trajectory. So every game they become more dangerous. And this pass rush nickname now, we got to decide, we're going to go with Hollywood Hustle, the way to get after it.
Not bad. I like that one too. Yeah, Hollywood Hustle. I mean, Fearsome Foursome 2.0, many people would say, including
That's another
myself.
one.
I mean,
Yeah, we could go with that one. Fearsome, what was it? Fearsome 24 some.
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's right. You did say that earlier when we were talking.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good one too.
we had Blue Steel in the beginning of the year, right?
That's a good one. Yep.
So we'll leave that for you in the comments to decide, Ram Nation, which way you want to go, Ramley. But I like Hollywood Hustle, man. The way they get after it up front, I mean, it just takes the pressure off, the other two levels. And who's bringing it today? Shout out to these two linebackers who get the bulk of the playing time.
Yep.
Right? We got to talk about the big O and boom, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right? Unbelievable. Those two are just, balling out, bringing the thunder in the run game, but pass coverage. Boom was like all over the place today.
Yeah.
I mean, great job. Absolutely great job all around.
Let me step in and be the Rosetta Stone here. So Christian Roseboom and the big O is Omar Spates. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah. 100% correct.
And by the way, so maybe one of you guys maybe you caught it on tape. Did Akilla Witherspoon ad lib on that play?
On that, I think he was going. I think it was more like a delayed, if I had to guess, just based on my memory and now thinking about it. Rams Nation, we'll look at the film. We'll have some better answers for all these fun plays that happen in our favor. But if I remember correctly, I mean, he was going. He had a little hesitation, and then he's like, oh, no one's going to block me.
Right.
No problem. And then he just went in and just laid the boom on Sam Darnold. So I think it was designed, and then I think he was expecting maybe someone to come over and kind of try to block him. And he was like, oh, no one's coming. Fantastic.
Hey,
and then we made the,
It was the first sack of his career. You see the disbelief on his face. He was like, what do I do? I'm here at the quarterback. What do I do?
Hey, speaking of design, and I don't want to get you off track here, Ian, but I did stumble across a Dan Orlovsky talking about Kyron Williams' reception for a touchdown.
That was a great play.
Ram fans, go take a look at that, how he hid inside the offensive lineman for like a split second, basically buried in between the guard and the center, I think, and then just slipped out. And it was obviously a design, something that they saw that they could take advantage of, but really, really cool play, really sneaky play, accounted for one of our touchdowns.
Yeah, well, I mean, Rams Nation, enough about the defense for a moment. We'll get back to them very shortly. But how about this Rams offense for being efficient outside of some really stupid penalties that made me angry, seeing them called dumb penalty on Jordan Whittington, some other dumb holding penalties, and some stuff with Bo Limmer that I thought shouldn't have been flagged. Ridiculous. But Matthew Stafford finished the game very efficient, 19 of 27. He didn't throw it for 40, 50 times, which is a losing formula for most quarterbacks in the league, no matter how good you are, let's be honest. And then that Kyron Williams, last minute laser beam that Stafford threw sidearm, and then the wide open touchdown to Davis Allen before half. We'll talk about the offense, Rams Nation. I thought it was fantastic. I enjoyed the 12 personnel. I enjoyed seeing screens to Higbee. Obviously, when he got out, there wasn't very many of that. But I thought McVay had a much, much better offensive play calling day throughout this entire game, especially in that first half, which allowed us to have a really big lead. And I'm happy to see that. And I'm happy that he saw, LaFleur have a bunch of screen passes in that Week 18 game. He's like, you know what? Why don't I do that more with Tyler Higbee and co? And that was really a big reason why we were able to move the chains and get, really good yardage. But Stafford offense, I thought they did enough. I thought Stafford had a fantastic day overall. I mean, against a good Vikings defense. And shout out to the tight ends and the scramble drill stuff for really getting us in the end zone in that first half and beyond. But Paul, your thoughts on offense, everyone, tight ends, Stafford, play calling, the whole shebang. How do you feel?
Yeah, it definitely was by design. So if you take a look at it, Stafford completed 70% of his passes today, right? We talked about that. When he's in that range, that's usually, good news for the Rams. Yeah. But 9 receptions to the tight ends, right? If Higbee didn't go out, probably you would have seen even more there.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
three to Kyron. So basically, and not all of these were checkdowns, but basically that was probably something that, probably has been apparent over the last 3 weeks. Everybody's just basically jumping into that umbrella coverage, and they're giving up everything underneath. And they probably told Stafford, take it. And that's what Staff did. And, watch him directing traffic back there, hit Kyron half roll to the left, right? We talked about the half roll, bingo. And then Davis Allen being the other TD recipient. There you go, with all the big name players, right? King Cup and Puka, those two wind up with a touchdown. So I don't think it's coincidental. They're definitely going to take that underneath stuff if that's what's going to be given to them. And Stafford was very, very patient today, right? And I think you saw that. Apart from that, maybe that one chuck to Cup, right? Everything was on point. That was 6 for Cup. If it was out in front of him, that was 6. Right?
That was his only catch of the day, Rams
only
Nation.
Catch, yeah.
Crazy, which is concerning in a different way, but that was clutch on that third
7
down,
different receivers. There you go. 7 different receivers shedding, sharing the wealth here, spreading it around. I think that makes the Rams dangerous. So, I mean, great job. I mean, when you look at the numbers, it's misleading. Time of possession, number of plays in Minnesota ran, etc. Stafford only having 209 yards, Kyron only running 19 carries, but that's because the Rams were in control of the game. They were up to, at one point, 2.5 scores, right? 2 full and a field goal, right? There you go. I mean, that's significant. So they were controlling the tempo of the game, and they were burning a lot of clock. So, the game plan was rock solid, and it played itself out.
Yeah, played itself out beautifully for sure.
I wonder if the Rams have ever had 4 tight ends with at least 1 reception in a game. I doubt that's ever happened.
Well, I mean, shout out to Rams PR. I'm sure they'll have some other fun tight end stats for us in the next day or two. They'll uncover all the stuff, real time, post game, pre game. When we'll share those with you as we find those out, Rams Nation. So, Mark, to your point there, I'm sure that would probably be a record of some sorts if that ends up being the case, which is very likely with all these tight ends that we play. But our Rams Nation, beyond the offense, and the defense just absolutely freaking took over in that third and fourth quarter as Kobe Turner is breaking history. As I've said earlier, these young Rams just doing just craziness every week. Rams PR sharing the stat with 2 sacks in the first half. Defensive tackle Kobe Turner tied Hall of Famer Jack Youngblood for the most sacks in a player's first 2 career playoff games in Rams history with 2.5. This Rams front 7, this Rams front 4, this Rams defense, all you Ramley out there tuning in, is just so freaking good. And they're all young, and we have at least a couple more years with this group together, which is very, very exciting. Right, Mark?
Yeah. I mean, you look at this draft, and I love talking about the Rams 2024 draft, and it could go down in history as one of the best ever, period. Yeah. If Brandon Jackson steps up a little bit, if Blake Corum's a running back we think he is, and if KT Levinston ever gets on the field, man, this is going to be a draft for the ages. And then, 2023 wasn't so shabby either. And when you compare it to our arch rivals, what they've done in the draft, everybody loves John Lynch. I'm not sure. Sometimes I question why. Their drafts have been pretty horrific. We're just going to say it out loud. And man, and fans of our NFC West rivals watching this game are probably saying, "Holy crap! What are we going to do for the next 2 years?"
No crap. As I try to keep it PG here. Gosh, I love this. I love this fearsome foursome 2.0. Whatever nickname you have, Rams Nation, let us know in the comments, like Paul said earlier. But Paul, your thoughts on Kobe Turner making history, tying Jack Youngblood? Wow.
I mean, when you say Jack Youngblood, you're like, okay, that's elite company, right? So, I mean, he's been doing it all year. Not only is he generating sacks, but the work he does in the run game, right? That's something that doesn't get talked about a lot, particularly in his game. And that's something that he's and actually that's what he was drafted for, was his toughness in the run game, right? Not just his leadership, obviously, and his toughness in the run game, but leading this young crew, helping the D linemen develop. I mean, just it can't be overstated, And what's interesting about this was, you got to pay attention to the inactives, Ramley. So we were talking about the tight end situation. Tyler Johnson was inactive, so we knew something was up. We were like, wow, that's interesting. Tyler Johnson's inactive. I thought, oh boy, here we go. They're going to load up on Whittington today, right? Turned out it was the tight end situation. Guess who was inactive today? Jackson. And guess who got some playing time? Keir Thomas. And got to say, Keir Thomas has bulked up. He looks huge, and he looks good out there. And if he can contribute down the stretch, he's fresh. Positive impact in the run game as well as the pass game would be most welcome. But, just follow the conductor's lead. He is getting it done. Unsung hero for this team.
Yeah. I mean, this whole Rams Nation, for anyone who was unaware after ESPN's broadcast, the Rams tied an NFL playoff record with 9 sacks against the Vikings today. Insane. And let's go through this real quick, Rams Nation. So we have Byron Young with 1.5. You have Akella Witherspoon with 1 with the strip sack. You have Gallimore with 1.5. Kobe Turner with 2 that we mentioned earlier. Michael Hoyt had a half sack. Kobe Durant had a sack where he broke some history. Desjuan Johnson had a sack. Braden Fisk had a half sack. I mean, wow. I mean, this defensive front, and that's excluding all the pressures and the hurries that Darnold had to say, oh my God, I'm going to get hit. I got to throw this away. Or it made him throw an inaccurate pass where people were open for the Vikings offense. Fantastic day. And these young Rams, yet again, with another stat here, breaking history or tying history, I guess, in this point. But Mark, to your point, best Rams draft class ever. And we'll just lump in the 2023 group. Les Need, Tony Pastor's scouting masterclass these last couple of years, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we go on and on about these guys and special teams too. And Ethan Evans today, a 2023 draft pick. He is
part of that defense too.
Yeah, he's stepping up. He had the one touchback; it almost stayed out. And Joshua Carty, 100%. Yeah, it's fantastic, and I can't wait to see what we do in the next draft. Drafting 32nd, of course, but we can still find a good player there.
And real quick, Ball, before you join in, I got one more stat about this defense, which is fantastic as well. Shout out to Rams PR yet again. Since 2000, the Rams are the only team to record 6 sacks and a defensive touchdown in the first half of a playoff game. Holy crap! Today was on fire, right, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other part of it. And it's going to play huge against Philly, is that when you can keep the defense fresh, keep them off the field, right? When the offense can hold the ball, let these guys get some oxygen, right? It's Hollywood a hustle in full effect, right? They can fly all over the field. I mean, they look like the Energizer Bunny out there. They were everywhere. It makes a huge difference on this unit. This unit is predicated on one thing: attack up front. Right, that just opens up everything else on this defense. Right, the ability to blitz, the coverage gives them that comfort level to drop back, keeps them in that sort of third and defensive advantage situation as opposed to third and short. So it plays out huge. So complimentary football today, and watching these guys just run around and do damage. Listen, this is. This defense, we might even have another name for them, 24 Savage.
Ooh, I like that too. And real quick, Rams Nation, for anyone who wants to see the visual of who was getting to the quarterback today, again, Turner, Gallimore, Byron Young, Witherspoon, Durant, Johnson, Fisk, Hoyt, they were all wreaking havoc on our former LA native Sam Darnold out here as he had another tough day trying to throw the ball, be protected.
And shout out to Gallimore, who came in Ram Nation for Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown went out with a shoulder injury, and Gallimore did work today.
Yeah. A lot of these Rams definitely got banged up, and that was unfortunate to see. Hopefully they will be recovered and well enough to play in Philadelphia this upcoming week. But before we talk about Philadelphia real quick, I mean, This didn't age well. Shout out to Gridiron putting out this fun little quote. You know, Dan Campbell to Kevin O'Connell after the Week 18 finale. I'll see you in 2 weeks, quote unquote. Again, did not age well. As yes, we are not going to play the Lions next week, which was my internal hope before this, all the playoff games were sorted out before ours today. But did not age well. And you better watch out, Campbell. We might see you in the tournament if you don't handle business against Washington, which I think Washington has a chance in that game, truthfully. But did not age well. Right, Mark?
No, it was just a silly thing to say, and I still don't think it was a big deal, a slight towards the Rams, but it's just a misunderstanding of how the playoffs work, really. But if the Rams apparently had that posted up on a bulletin board and helped them get a little extra motivated. They had a lot of extra motivation in this game, and they used it. So, yeah. Man, I think it would be my dream scenario. Well, at this point, we're all probably dreaming this scenario. I know some of you guys probably like to go to Detroit and beat them, but I would love for the Rams to come back to LA after beating Philadelphia and host Washington and, kind of a get well opportunity for the city of Los Angeles, the Rams to win an NFC championship back at SoFi against the Commanders. That would be really sweet.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. But Paul, your thoughts on Campbell's dumb comments last week?
So, I mean, this was the low percentage scenario. We were like, this could happen, and the Rams could get that second home game. So listen, I'm telling you, Washington is dangerous. Daniels is an absolute baller, man. And I have a feeling he's going to throw for 300 plus. They're going to throw. That's a depleted secondary. There's going to be a lot of opportunities. McLaurin is just like, man, the kid is just a beast. So there's a nice combination there. Detroit's going to get all they can handle from that squad. That's a young, hungry team.
Yes, it is. And with that, Rams Nation, if you haven't caught on already who the hell we're going to play, Rams versus Philadelphia next Sunday, or this Sunday, I should say, January 19th, 12 p.m. Pacific for all you West Coast LA natives, and 3 o'clock Eastern time for everyone on the Beast Coast, as Paul likes to say. So not done yet, as this graphic here says. And that's definitely the case, as I was at that game Sunday night when Philadelphia absolutely scorched us on the ground when Saquon had a career day. It was fun for about a quarter and some change. And after that, it just got uglier and uglier and uglier. So hopefully some revenge factor will be motivation, just like the motivation of the fires, the displacement of LA natives, the displacement of this Rams organization. And hopefully that ass kicking they took earlier in the year will be motivation for this team to be like, you know what? We're going to go embarrass them, upset them in their place, and end their season. We ain't letting Saquon having a career day against us. Hopefully, right, Mark?
Yeah, and also have some information on this game. Apparently, the odds opened up at 6.5, and the information I have here is we took respected money on the Rams. I guess that means the sharps at 6.5, and it's down to 6 now. The over/under has dropped from 45 to 43.5. This all after the end of the Rams game. Some people being swayed in their betting preferences in this game already, and the Rams are going to be the clear underdog. It's going to be a big challenge, especially with Saquon Barkley, and it's going to be a big challenge. But this is a different Rams team than the one they faced back. It's been about 10 weeks probably. It's been a while since we played them, right? We're going to have a shot. It's not a coin flip game like it was, like this Rams Vikings game. It's gonna be an uphill battle for our Rams, but if they bring it like they did tonight, they're gonna be okay.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, objectively, let's just be honest about it real fast. It's objectively a really crappy bad matchup for this team. Cold weather, elite defense led by Vic Fangio, who McVay worships. Let's just call it what it is. He does, which is why he wants our defense to be like his every year. Elite O-line, elite running back, Hall of Fame level running back, mobile quarterback who can run around and extend plays and outrun pass rushers. Top tier pass catchers. It's a bad matchup, which is why we got our ass kicked early in the year, but not impossible if this Rams team we saw tonight shows up in Philadelphia, right, Paul?
Any given Sunday, right? Any given Sunday. So
there you go.
It's a different team altogether in terms of, in that first Ram game you could just see the mind space was not right. You could just see that. And we knew that. You could tell it was coming. By the second quarter, you knew it was coming, right? It was just a matter like, oh, we made it to halftime. And then after halftime, it was like the floodgates opened. So, I mean, the Rams, they have two solid linebackers now in the middle. They have some upfront play, which is just light years ahead of where it was midseason. So, I think the Rams have a legitimate chance. I think offensively, the Rams are a lot better than people are giving them credit for, right? It's also some of the comments made by some of the crew on some of these channels talking about the Rams offense. I'm like, do they know who's on the Rams offense? Yeah. But one thing for the Rams to get on track, right? This is another game. If you take away the 7 points, the Rams only threw up 20, right? It would be nice to see the Rams start, blowing the doors off some teams, right? Throwing up 30, 40 points. But, we'll see how it goes. The weather is going to be the interesting scenario now, right? So you talk about Beast Coast weather. So it can go, it's a balmy right now. They're saying it's a balmy 35 to 40, which is not too bad. But then they're also looking at a little bit of rain. So that's going to be interesting. So it depends on how you look at it. If it gets muddy and, just messy out there, who does it give the advantage to, the Rams or to the other squad? So we'll see. But this is the way you want it because you want best on best. So let's see how it plays itself out.
That's right.
I was just going to say a couple turnovers, a pick six, a fumble here or there. Rams win.
I agree. Let's be honest. The Kobe Dean, who I knew was their signal caller, is probably one of their weaker links on that fantastic top 3 defense. So he's tore his knee. He won't be playing. Jalen Hurts is streaky. Let's just call it what it is. So that benefits us. Will he throw a bad pass here or there? Obviously, we've got to get to him. But, there's things to be excited about playing the Eagles when everything else is not to be excited about. So got to play good football, and we'll worry about it after, again, Rams Nation. We celebrate the Rams winning 27-9, hosting the Minnesota Vikings in the state of Arizona. And real quick, I tip my cap to the Arizona Cardinals franchise and their ownership and everyone involved with them for allowing us to host this game, fly out the players, everyone a part of the organization, their families, cats, dogs, as reported. Let us practice out there, use everything. And they said if more playoff games were needed there at Arizona, where the Rams would be required to host, that the door is open and they would have no problem doing that. So division rival. And I know there'll be probably plenty of memes of how we won a playoff game in their place way before they have in recent history, and whatever. We can laugh about those at a different time. But at this moment, shout out to Arizona for hosting us and allowing us to enjoy that, allowing our fans to enjoy it there, and for it to have some type of normalcy in this crazy firestorm time out here in Southern California. So respect to them, respect to all you Rams Nation who went out there, supported, who were here in LA, still supported. I think that good, positive juju, energy, whatever the hell you want to call it, was felt by everyone out there wearing horns, soul, and royal blue. But dang it, I'm so happy we won today, gentlemen. But before we get out of here, Mark, any last thoughts?
No, not really. I did want to say, I kind of feel bad for Sam Darnold, SoCal guy, USC. I think he's up the road here, San Clemente. And, everybody's kind of hammering on him. And he had a bad game, but I think his offensive lineman has been failing him too. So hopefully it works out for him. It's probably his last game in Minnesota. I hate to see it end like that. I thought the Rams should have signed him a couple years ago as a backup before he went to San Francisco. But enough of that. Great win. I'm going to enjoy this for a couple of days, and we'll start discussing this upcoming game in Philadelphia. Hey, the season goes on, and our Super Bowl hopes are alive. That's all that matters.
Yes, they are. I agree, man. Paul, thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, great win. And, it's good. I got to say this. It's good to be the underdog, man. I love it when the Rams are the underdog. Let people just sleep on them. It's as opposed to like all the other expectations, which may weigh them down. Go out and play their best football. And, the little things that matter, the attention to detail, they were there today, and then shout out also to Matthew Stafford for always being able to say the right thing. Talk about being a leader. The statement that he made, a couple of days ago about we live in this town, we wear the uniform, we represent this town. I mean, I think that is just basically set the tone for this team. It's going to carry this team through the playoffs. So it's a tough situation, and I got to say the players as a whole and the organization as a whole has really handled it with tact, sensitivity, and class. And it really is a testament to the organization and also to all the families out in the wonderful city of Angels, man. Everything that they've gone through, this win is for them. Every win is for them.
Well said, man. But dang it, win in advance as the Rams did today, as your Los Angeles Rams win 27-9 against the Minnesota Vikings in a rematch from that Thursday night game. Well, Rams and Vikings in primetime, things go our way, right, Rams Nation? And on to Philadelphia we go. And gosh, so excited. Love playoff football. It's a great time of the year. But thanks for tuning in, Rams Nation.
Three more.
Three more. And gosh, I hope things go our way and we host an NFC Championship. I will see you there if that happens, Rams Nation. No doubt about it. But for now, we celebrate this. And then just like the players organization, we have to move on as well. And we will do that here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. But thank you, Rams Nation, for tuning in here on the Rams Up Podcast. Post-game reaction. Like, subscribe, share this video and podcast with all your fellow Rams fans and football fans. Dang it, we very much appreciate it. But that'll do it here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian. That's Mark. That's Paul. Go Rams, and we'll see you very soon with film breakdowns, more reaction to this game, more in-depth analysis for this game and the future game coming up against Philadelphia, and tons of other content coming your way. So we'll see you very soon, and don't forget it. Go Rams, baby.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Beast Coast love to LA. Ramley forever.
Forever, forever.